AITAH, for wanting our wedding to be about us and not my fiancé's late husband. I, 34M, have been engaged to my fiancée, Sarah, 32F, for about a year now. We've been together for 3 years, and I love her more than anything. She was married before, but her husband Jake passed away in an accident 5 years ago. I knew about Jake from the start, and I've always done my best to be understanding and supportive when she talks about him or grieves. I know he was a huge part of her life, and I never tried to erase that. However, a few weeks ago, we started seriously planning our wedding, and that's when the issue started. Sarah told me she wanted to have pictures of Jake at our wedding. At first, I thought she meant maybe a small tribute table or a framed picture at her getting ready area. I was okay with that. But then she clarified she wanted a framed picture of him at the ceremony, near where we say our vows, and also included in the wedding slideshow that would be playing at the reception. That threw me off. I told her I wasn't sure how I felt about that. I understood honoring his memory, but our wedding was supposed to be about us, not her past marriage. She got upset and said that Jake was a part of who she is, and that she wouldn't feel right not acknowledging him in some way. I suggested maybe a small personal tribute, like a charm on her bouquet, or a moment of silence, but she insisted on the pictures. I sat with it for a few days, and realized it really made me uncomfortable. I don't want to stand there committing my life to Sarah, with a picture of her late husband watching over us. It makes me feel like I'm in a competition with a ghost, and I don't think that's fair. I talked to my best friend about it, and he straight up said, "Dude, if you're marrying her, you should accept all of her, including her past." I get that, but is there a line? After thinking it over, I told Sarah that I wasn't comfortable with having Jake's pictures at our wedding in such a prominent way. I said I needed more time to process everything and suggested we postpone the wedding until we figure this out. She lost it. She said I was being cruel, that I knew from the start she was a widow, and that I was trying to erase Jake from her life. I told her that's not true, but I need to feel like I'm her husband, not her second choice, or just another chapter in the same love story. Now she and her family are furious. They think I'm being selfish and insecure. Her mom even called me to say I should be grateful she's willing to marry me at all, because she had a perfect love with Jake, and I should just accept that I'll never be number one to her. That hit me like a truck. My family is split. Some think I should just let her do it because it means so much to her, while others say it's a major red flag that she's still so attached to her past marriage. So Reddit, AITA for postponing the wedding over this? Should I just suck it up and let it go? Or am I right to be uncomfortable? AITA for refusing to support my husband after he quit his job to work for his mom's failing business? I, 29F, have been married to my husband Tom, 32M, for 4 years. We've had a pretty solid relationship, but his relationship with his mother, Linda, has always been complicated. Linda is the type of mother who needs to be involved in everything. She calls him every morning, every night, and multiple times throughout the day for the most random things. If we go on vacation, she jokingly asks why we didn't bring her. If we have date nights, she'll call in the middle of dinner just to check in. It's been annoying, but I've dealt with it because I love Tom, and at the end of the day, he's a great husband. That is, until recently. About 3 months ago, Tom came home with big news: he had quit his job. Just like that. No warning, no discussion, nothing. I was stunned. We're not exactly rolling in money, and while we're not struggling, we definitely need 2 incomes to maintain our mortgage, bills, and savings goals. When I asked why, he said his mother had a great opportunity for him. She has a small business, honestly more of a hobby, that makes money selling handmade candles and soaps. Apparently, she wanted to expand it and had convinced Tom to quit his well-paying job to help her make it big. I was speechless. This was not a business opportunity. This was his mother roping him into her latest obsession. She's had so many random side businesses over the years: an Etsy shop that never took off, a YouTube channel that lasted 2 months, a fitness coaching thing even though she isn't a trainer, and a spiritual healing business that involved selling overpriced crystals. Every single one of them flopped. I reminded Tom of this, but he got defensive and said, "This time it's different." He insisted that his mom needed him, and that she had a vision for turning her business into something huge. I asked how much he was making, and he admitted nothing for now. His mother promised he'd get paid once they started turning a profit. So, just to be clear, he quit his stable job to work for free for his mom. I was livid. I told him that this wasn't fair to me. I asked him how he planned to contribute to our expenses, and he just kept saying, "We'll figure it out." We? No. I would be the one figuring it out while he played entrepreneur with his mother. Over the next few weeks, I tried to be patient. I hoped he'd realize this was a mistake and go back to job hunting. Instead, he completely threw himself into working with his mother. And by working, I mean sitting at her house all day, brainstorming branding ideas, designing logos that looked like they were made in Microsoft Paint, and making TikToks that got 12 views. Meanwhile, our bills started piling up, and I was covering everything: the mortgage, utilities, groceries, while he kept saying, "Just give it time." I was beyond stressed. I told him again that we needed a real plan. He brushed me off and told me I wasn't supporting his dreams. A few nights ago, I came home exhausted after working overtime again to find Tom on the couch watching Netflix, surrounded by takeout containers from a restaurant that I paid for. And something in me just snapped. I told him straight up that I can't do this anymore. I told him I felt like I was married to a child who ran off to play business with his mommy while I carried all the responsibility. I said I was done paying for everything while he waited for his mom's business to magically succeed. He looked completely shocked and said he couldn't believe I was being so unsupportive when he was just trying to build something for our future. I told him that his real future was crumbling because he refused to be an adult. He stormed out and went to his mom's. Since then, I've gotten dozens of texts from her saying I'm a selfish, materialistic wife who doesn't believe in her son. Tom has been staying with her for the past few days and barely speaking to me, but when he does, he just keeps saying that I gave up on him. I feel like I'm losing my mind. I didn't sign up to be the sole provider while my husband plays startup CEO with his mother. But now even some of our mutual friends are saying I should have been more patient and believed in his vision. So Reddit, AITA. AITAH for laughing when my sister-in-law accused me of baby trapping my husband and secretly DNA tested my daughter? Okay, so this whole situation is absolutely insane, and I need to know if I handled it poorly. I, 34F, have been married to my husband Mark, 36M, for 8 years. We have a beautiful daughter, Lily, 6F, who is our absolute pride and joy. Now my sister-in-law, Jessica, 38F, has never liked me. From the moment Mark and I started dating, she's been distant, passive-aggressive, and sometimes just straight-up rude. She's always made little comments about how I'm not really their type, and how Mark used to date women who were more his speed, whatever that means. Mark has always brushed it off, saying that Jessica is just protective and has a hard time warming up to people. She has always inserted herself into our relationship in weird ways. She once tried to set Mark up on a date after we were already engaged, claiming she forgot we were together. She makes snide remarks about how I trapped Mark with a baby, even though we were married before we had Lily. It's just constant little digs that I've learned to ignore for the sake of family peace. Fast forward to last weekend, we were at a family BBQ at my ML's house, and everyone was having a good time. Kids playing in the yard, adults chatting, good food, normal family gathering stuff. Then, completely out of nowhere, Jessica drops a bombshell. In the middle of casual conversation, she just says it. "Oh, by the way, the DNA results came back. Lily is Mark's kid. So congrats, I guess." I swear you could hear a pin drop. My fork literally clattered onto my plate. Everyone just stopped what they were doing and stared at her. I looked at Mark, then back at Jessica, and then I burst out laughing. Like full-on hysterical laughter. I thought she was joking. Because who in their right mind DNA tests someone else's kid behind their back? But no, Jessica was dead serious. She looked offended that I was laughing. She actually rolled her eyes and goes, "I don't see what's so funny. I was just trying to get the truth." At this point, Mark steps in and asks what the hell she's talking about. Jessica, completely calm like she didn't just drop a nuclear bomb on our family, says she's always had doubts because Lily doesn't really look like Mark, and that she just wanted to make sure her brother wasn't being played. I asked her how she even got a DNA sample. And get this, she took one of Lily's used straws from a previous visit and sent it in for testing. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Mark lost it on her. He stood up so fast his chair nearly toppled over. He told her she had no right to do that she had completely violated our trust, and that she needed to leave. My ML tried to calm everyone down, but Jessica doubled down, saying she was just trying to look out for family, and that we should be grateful that she proved I wasn't a cheater. I was still laughing because honestly, the whole thing was so insane that I didn't even know how to react. I told her, "Jessica, you're unhinged. This is the craziest thing anyone has ever done to me. And I gave birth to my child." Then Jessica actually had the audacity to get mad at me. She starts going off about how real family sticks together, and how people should be grateful when the truth comes out. Meanwhile, my ML is wringing her hands. My Phil is staring at his plate like it's the most interesting thing in the world, and our other relatives are just watching the drama unfold like it's reality TV. Jessica kept trying to defend herself, saying Lily doesn't look like Mark, which is insane because she has his exact eye color and nose. Not to mention, genetics don't work in some simple copy-paste way. She even had the nerve to say, "Well, I was right though, wasn't I?" As if the fact that Lily is Mark's kid somehow justifies her psycho behavior. I finally snapped and told her she was never allowed near Lily unsupervised again, because who knows what else she might do. Mark backed me up, saying he didn't trust her anymore. Jessica freaked out, saying I was trying to turn Mark against his own family. ML tried to tell me to let it go, because Jessica meant well, but I told her that if she defends this, she's just as bad. Jessica stormed out, calling me dramatic and saying she was just protecting Mark. Since then she's been blowing up his phone, leaving long voicemails about how I'm manipulating him, and that he'll regret choosing me over family. Now my ML and a few other family members are saying that I should have taken it more seriously instead of laughing in her face. They think I embarrassed Jessica, and made the situation more dramatic than it needed to be. Mark is still furious, and says he wants nothing to do with her for a long time. But now I'm wondering, was I the AH for laughing instead of reacting more seriously? AITAH for being my friend's plan B after her hall pass turned her down? I 29M recently got caught in some major drama, and I honestly don't know if I'm the bad guy here, or if my friend Jenna 30F is just being ridiculous. So, I need Reddit's judgment. Jenna and I have been close friends for years. She's married to a guy named Chris 32M, and they've always had what I'd call a very open kind of relationship. Not open as in polyamorous, but they just have this flirty, jokey thing where they talk about celebrity crushes and hall passes. You know, the whole if I ever got the chance to sleep with Ryan Gosling, it wouldn't count as cheating kind of deal. We were all out for drinks a few weeks ago, and Jenna was really drunk. She brought up her hall pass list and was joking about how she'd totally use it if she ever got the chance. At some point she turned to me and said, "Oh my god, you know who's on my list, Ryan freaking Carter." Now here's where it gets complicated. I happen to know Ryan Carter. Not super well, but we went to college together, and we still run in similar circles. He's not crazy famous, and apparently Jenna has been obsessed with him for years. So naturally, I laughed and said, "Damn Jenna, you actually have a shot because I can introduce you." She freaked. She got so excited, started begging me to set up a meeting, and was practically vibrating with anticipation. She was like, "OMG, you have to introduce me. Chris would totally let me, right babe?" And Chris just laughed and went, Sure, whatever makes you happy." At this point, I thought it was just drunk talk. A fun, silly thing. But nope, Jenna would not let it go. She started texting me non-stop, asking if I'd talked to Ryan yet, sending me pictures of herself all dolled up, literally saying, "Do you think he'd like me like this?" Like she was dead serious about this whole hall pass thing. So being the good friend that I am, I reached out to Ryan. I told him I had a friend who was a huge fan and would love to meet him. He was cool about it and agreed to grab drinks with us. We all went out one night, me, Jenna, Ryan, and a few other friends. And holy hell, Jenna was on a mission. She was all over him, touching his arm, giggling at everything he said, practically throwing herself at him. Ryan, being a dude who is used to attention, was eating it up. At some point in the night, I stepped away, and when I came back, Jenna was whispering to Ryan and giggling like a schoolgirl. Before I knew it, she grabbed my arm and said, "We're heading out," and winked at me. I assumed they were gonna hook up. I mean, that's what she wanted, right? But apparently Ryan wasn't into the whole hall pass with a married woman thing. So Jenna got rejected and came back looking pissed. She sat next to me, took one look at Ryan, and then downed the rest of her drink. Then she turned to me and said, "You know what? I think you're my hall pass now." I laughed, thinking it was a joke, but then she leaned in way too close. I asked if she was serious, and she nodded. Chris wouldn't care. He literally said it's fine. Now I'd had a few drinks myself, and I won't lie, Jenna is attractive. We've always had a flirty friendship, but I never thought she'd actually want to sleep with me. But in that moment, she was looking at me like I was her backup prize, like I was just some consolation for her failed mission with Ryan. I hesitated. I asked her if she was sure about this, if she really wanted to go through with it. She just smirked and said, "Come on, it's just a hall pass. No big deal, right?" Chris literally said it's fine. She leaned in even closer, running her fingers down my arm, and in my slightly tipsy state, I stopped thinking. The mix of alcohol, years of chemistry, and the way she was looking at me in that moment, like I was the only thing she wanted, made it impossible to resist. One thing led to another, and we ended up back at my place. Long story short, we hooked up that night. And honestly, I figured it was all good because she literally said it was fine. She seemed totally okay with it, even affectionate the next morning before she left. Fast forward a few days and Jenna is losing her mind. She's texting me paragraphs about how I betrayed her trust and took advantage of the situation. She said she was drunk and upset and that I should have known better. She even told Chris, and now he's mad at me too, which makes no sense because he was literally laughing about the whole thing at the bar. Even weirder, Jenna keeps sending mixed signals. One minute she's furious, the next she's apologizing for freaking out, and then she's mad at me all over again. Now our entire friend group knows, and I'm being labeled as a homewrecker. People are taking sides, and it's turned into this huge dramatic mess. I genuinely don't think I did anything wrong. Jenna wanted this, she initiated it, and she said it was fine. But now that she regrets it, I'm the bad guy. AITA, for dropping the ultimate bombshell on my best friend right before her wedding. Okay, so before anyone jumps to conclusions, let me explain. I 28F have been best friends with Emily 27F for over a decade. We've been through everything together, bad breakups, family drama, college stress, all of it. She's like a sister to me, which is why what happened is making me feel like the worst person alive. Emily got engaged to Adam 30M about a year ago, and at first I was genuinely happy for her. Adam seemed like a great guy, charming, successful, the whole package, but something about him always felt off to me. I couldn't put my finger on it, so I just told myself I was being overprotective. Emily was head over heels, and that was all that mattered. Now, here's where my world got flipped upside down. About 6 months ago, I met this guy at a bar while I was out with some coworkers. Let's call him Jake. He was insanely attractive, super charismatic, and we just clicked. We had a few drinks, one thing led to another, and well, we ended up sleeping together. I'm not the kind of person who does casual flings, but there was just something about Jake. We kept seeing each other on and off, mostly hooking up when our schedules aligned. It wasn't anything serious, at least. That's what I thought. Then, 2 weeks ago, Emily asked me to come with her to a cake tasting for the wedding. I showed up, all excited for her, and when I walked into the bakery, my stomach dropped. Because standing right there, holding Emily's hand and looking all lovey-dovey, was Adam. Adam, who I knew as Jake. I swear to God, I almost fainted. I just stood there, frozen, while he locked eyes with me, and in that split second, I knew he recognized me too. His expression changed just slightly, like a flicker of panic, but he covered it up so fast, I almost thought I imagined it. Emily, oblivious as ever, pulled me into a hug, chattering about wedding details, while I was trying not to throw up. I didn't say anything that day. I couldn't. I felt like I was trapped in a nightmare, and if I said it out loud, it would make it real. But every time Emily talked about Adam, about how excited she was to marry him, about their honeymoon plans, I felt like I was suffocating. So, a few nights ago, I finally did it. I told her everything. I said, Emily, I need to tell you something, and you're going to hate me. And then I laid it all out. The bar, the hookups, how I had no idea it was Adam until the bakery. I was begging her to believe me, to understand that I would never do something like this if I had known. She just stared at me. I'll never forget the look in her eyes, like her entire world had just shattered into pieces. Then she whispered, "Get out." I tried to explain, to tell her I wasn't lying, but she screamed at me, told me I was a liar, a backstabber, that I wanted to ruin her happiness. She said I had been jealous of her relationship, and that's why I was trying to sabotage it. The worst part, Adam, that bastard, denied everything. He told Emily I was obsessed with him, that I had been coming on to him for months, and that he kept rejecting me. And Emily believed him. Now she's blocked me everywhere. Our mutual friends are split. Some believe me, some don't. Adam is playing the perfect fiancé, comforting Emily, acting like the wounded party, and their wedding is still happening in a month. I feel sick. I don't know if I did the right thing by telling her. Maybe I should have just kept my mouth shut, let her have her fairy tale. But wouldn't I be the asshole if I let her marry a cheating liar? Update. So, after getting a lot of messages and support, I decided to try one last time to get Emily to see the truth. I knew Adam was the type of guy who'd slip up if given the chance, so I decided to test him. I texted him from a burner number, pretending to be a random girl he'd met at a bar, and guess what? He took the bait instantly. He flirted, asked to meet up, and even suggested a hotel. I saved every single message and sent them all to Emily. I wish I could say she immediately believed me, but it wasn't that simple. At first, She accused me of faking the messages. Adam doubled down on his lies, claiming I was out to get him. But then, 2 days later, she showed up at my apartment in tears. Turns out, she went through his phone, and let's just say, I wasn't the only one. Adam had been seeing multiple women behind her back. He even had another long-term side piece, who also thought she was the only one. The wedding, canceled. Emily is currently staying with her parents, absolutely devastated. She apologized to me, but honestly, things will never be the same between us. I get it, she was manipulated. And heartbreak does weird things to people. But the damage is done. As for Adam, he's already back on dating apps, acting like he didn't just nuke his entire life. So yeah, I don't know if Emily and I will ever be as close as we were, but at least she dodged a bullet. And as for me, I think I need a serious break from dating. So, Reddit, AITAH,